All right, ladies and gents, welcome. And we're going to zoom in on this buff dude right now because this is going to be like the best YouTube intro I've ever had. Look at him. Look at him. He's chiseled, man. Anyways, that made it weird. I'm sorry. Welcome to a 1v1 low elo legends. In the blue, we have Bot Fleisch. Apologies, Germans. That feels very German. You should know me by now. Not really the best at that. And then here in the red, we have Passive Atheist. And blue is playing as the Cumans. Then we have Passive Atheist playing as the Incas. I like this Civ matchup. I feel like these civilizations are very strong. Hello? Earth to red? Man, he is passive. Hello? Passive Atheist! You're villagers! What are you doing? They can't be praying. That's for damn sure. Okay, there we go. He goes to work now. Anyways, I think this is going to be a fun one on a map that everyone knows, very open map, Arabia. You've got Incas, who might not be the strongest first pick or second pick available. Same with Cumans, but you do see them a lot in competitive play because they are very, very strong still. We will see, okay? We will see. It is German, wonderful. I'm very happy that I got that right. So let's talk about the bonuses here, and these players are obviously going to do their own unique little things, but this is 750 elo. You can see blue starting to scout out with some sheep, which is a pro move. May have miscalculated this, however, and now has no food underneath the TC. I'm not sure if this is relatable for many of the viewers out there, but I will say this for blue. This is how you practice, right? You're never going to be able to figure out the timing on scouting with your sheep and also doing everything else unless you fail a couple times. And blue adapts and brings in a rhino. But you know, when I think of the Cumans, I think about the fact they can make a second TC in the Feudal Age. That's the number one thing that comes to mind for Cumans, because that sets them apart from the other civs. And when I think of the Incas, I have no clue what Red's doing over here. He's got like red dots all over the place. Okay. When I think of the Incas, I think about more of their overall flexibility. Incas, they get plus 10 population space from each house, which means they don't have to build as many houses early. They can do pretty much everything. And, well, I say everything. They, of course, do not get access to stables, but they have very good archers, very good skirmishers. They have good eagle warriors. They can go all the way up to champion. They're a unique unit. The Kameyuk is pretty strong and underrated. Their siege is fairly solid. Their monk tree is pretty solid. So it's a well-rounded civ despite not having stables. Now, you talk about stables. You do think about that a lot with the Cumans, so it'll be an interesting clash of what's available for the civs. Cumans, archer ranges, and stables are cheaper than what they would be for other civs. The devs did that recently, and when that changed, it made it a lot more doable for the Cuman player to invest into the second TC, but then also add the production buildings afterwards, because the town center is almost 300 wood. Very, very expensive. Okay, so anyways, overall, guys, you've probably watched a lot of my Loey the Legend casts. Overall, these players are beasting it right now. I don't know where Red Scout is. Okay, he's forgotten about that for a little bit. But I'm loving what I'm seeing here. I love how we've got the lumber camp coming up before the mill. So now they have wood to afford things, right? You can see the mill is now up for both. I'm not sure about this. It looks like blue killed a rhino, and now it's going to finish the goat and then go to the rhino. Okay, that's a little suspect, possibly. Blue now forgot to get to make houses as well. And now we see the panic. But it does seem like these two have practiced at least the first 15 to 20 villagers and have a general idea of what you should aim for. Of course, Age of Empires, there's 39 civs right now. Potentially more this year from what I've heard. So there's a lot of different things you can do with all the civs, but the general game plan stays somewhat similar. Obviously, there are some ways these players are struggling to execute, like these villagers have not gone back to a resource. But overall, I'm liking it. Okay, Red did get Loom. The villagers should be pretty protected here. And there we go. Good job, Red. Brings in the rhino underneath the TC. Not bad. According to Blue's profile is he's German. And then I think Passive Atheist is from the UK. I did find it interesting how Passive Atheist had idle time at the start. Like a lot of idle time. Oh, check it out. Passive Atheist, not so passive with the eagle, and is going to now push in the zebra. And normally, I would say that at this elo, or maybe a bit lower, players struggle to execute on that because they don't produce villagers out of their TC while they're also doing that. The red has practiced quite a bit with that. I like it. This is where you start to realize that maybe they don't have the best of builds to have a really distinct plan early feudal. You'll see what I mean. Unless 750 elo has really improved over the last couple weeks. I think they're going to arrive to feudal age, not quite in a position to really do anything of substance, but we'll see. 2 villagers on gold for blue. So maybe archers is going to be the plan. And red has sent so much to wood. 9 on wood is insane. As one of these villagers is on the straggler trees, which is fine. Red not really planning on going to feudal age at all. Blue is kind of, sort of, maybe. I think blue is going to go feudal age. These are definitely delayed uptimes. It's definitely very possible to go up faster. But with the 2 minutes of TC idle time for blue, as blue probably thinks they've clicked up to the next stage. There we go. And then a minute and a half for red. There obviously have been some delays here. You think red's going archers? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I mean, it feels like red is building up towards a lot of wood, right? So a few villagers should head to gold. Then you can plan to make a barracks while you're on the way up. Okay, here we go. And yeah, you could go double archery range archers. That would be really good. Okay, 4 on gold. I think you're right. This is overall. As blue's going to steal the goats. Like, everything looks so good. And then blue just steals 200 food like it's nothing with no garrison from red. And now red, wait, I think red noticed this. I don't know if red noticed it or if red wants another villager to build the barracks. Because now blue could actually, okay. No, blue, you can attack the goats and kill them right here. Don't, no. Don't. This is good for red. There you go. Run away, blue. Cut your losses. Is this like a delayed eagle build? Oh, smiley face from blue. Blue gives him the smiley. Like, you know, I'm just passing, bro. I didn't mean any harm. And then passive atheist with the return smiley. The difference being that, you know, red smiley has the mouth a little further down. You know, people, they've got different sized faces. Never thought I'd say that during a cast. And now they're talking all of a sudden. Blue says, nice Nick. He's appreciating red's name. And we now have, okay, so we have double barracks. We're going to have double archery range here for red. Red is getting the gold upgrade, the wood upgrade, and the farm upgrade. So definitely getting relevant eco technologies. And now we have very delayed militia. This comes back to what I said. You know, normal man-at-arm timing for the high level would be showing up at 10 minutes. Let's say for mid-level, like 1100 elo, maybe 11 minutes. So things are definitely delayed. But blue is committing towards something. He needs to wait till 3 militia come out. And then we're going to have man-at-arms. And it doesn't really seem like red is prepped for that. That would be the concern with how late he is. That said, his eco balance is quite good. However, he has not found the enemy at all. It's really something he should have prioritized. And I believe we have the classic auto scout working here. The red's just like, well, this game is too hard to play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let my eagle scout the map, and then I'm going to focus on all the stuff I need to do here. We have armor as well for blue, who, by the way, is making the second town center. Blue just spent 250 food on upgrading 5 men-at-arms. I mean, big investment here to this attack. This really needs to work well for this to pay off. And here comes red, and red must not have noticed this or did notice it and thinks, they're not men-at-arms yet. And they're not men-at-arms yet. They do have armor, though. And this should be much better for blue. Obviously, if he had men-at-arms, he would Shrek. It's a big difference between men-at-arms and militia. But this actually is good for red because it gives red time to say, ooh, let's just make the archers. I'm very curious to see what the unit control looks like. And keep an eye on the TC idle time. Because blue seems very... I was going to say fixated on the army, but now the army's not attacking. Maybe he looked back home. There you go. Now you've got the farm. See, the thing is, you need so much on food to be able to produce out of 2 TCs. He's kind of only producing out of 1 right now. But this is just not a fight that red wants to be anywhere near. And red just maybe clicked forging to get extra attack. But just not a fight that the Eagles really want to be a part of. Eagles are faster, though, so they can run away, which is good. And then you could maybe use the archers at home. You could see the stress is real for both players right now. You even have the scout here for blue trying to join in. He must have clicked one of the forward eagles or something, because he can't seem to get any hits. And blue's like, well, okay, my stable's cheap. Scouts would be good, so I'm just going to make a stable now. Yeah, good job from red. Great micro from red. Let's see if blue... I doubt there's going to be any quick walls, right? Okay, just kind of exists. Red is probably feeling pressure, so says, let's kill villagers with this, because I don't trust myself in the long term. And it loses 2 eagles for a villager kill. Still, that ends up being fine for me. You've got... Look at red behind this, adding house walls and adding archers. This is really good from red. In theory, though, blue could be producing, or could soon produce out of both of these TCs. And this is where it'll happen. Watch. Blue's like, ooh, ooh, okay, deep breaths. And then he's going to go, Bloodlines and a scout! No! Make villagers! Okay, guys, Bloodlines is 150 food and 100 gold, which is super expensive, right? And it gives you 20% extra HP on your scouts. How many scouts does he have? 0. So 150 food would have been 3 villagers. He's not producing at all. And he definitely likes his upgrades, which is cool. I don't mind the upgrades. I just question the timing on it. Now, the thing is, it's very hard to boom on 2 TCs and go for feudal age military. So that's where it gets tricky. A lot of people, like kind of how red is just sitting back and walling right now and making some archers. A lot of people would benefit from playing more like red in the Kuman position, where you don't go aggressive and you invite the pressure. That has not happened, and blue is getting every upgrade he can think of right now. And I have to say, if blue doesn't do more damage soon, it just really doesn't feel like this is going to be a winnable game. Now, we might question red's execution when it comes to offensive pressure in the next stage. But red's economy has looked really solid. Red's eco balance has looked top tier. And red will be able to click up to Castle Age right now. And that's so good. Honestly, I'm really impressed with red. I think that what might keep red around 750 elo is the fact that, as we see villagers go to stone for some reason for blue, is the fact that maybe there's a struggle when it comes to the offensive side. But certainly the defensive side, certainly the eco is looking tasty right now. And blue's just like, forget Vills. Like, I can catch up with Vills later on. I have the food for Vills. Nope, don't care about that. We're going to make everything else. You can look at it that way, but I also think you should, at the very least, produce villagers out of one of your TCs. Which he's not done. Josiah says, what is good eco balance? Even wood / farms? I don't know how new you are, my friend, but the answer to that is it depends. It really depends on what you're doing and what you're going for. In the case of going archers, he's got plenty of wood, plenty of food, which is great. He's a little light on gold right now. But until he produced more archers, it was looking pretty good. Now, these archers are moving forward at a time where you probably don't want to move forward. This is where the 750 elo comes into play for red. So, he, of course, didn't know what was out here, and he might think, I made this army, I want to use it. But now you're about 30 seconds away from hitting the Castle Age, and you really would have wanted to upgrade these. So this is a good time for blue to fight. And this is the beauty of low elo legends, where players will sometimes stick their head out a little earlier than they should. But this means all the archers are going to go down, and now he's got 0 archers. And now he's like, I'll go eagles, I guess. Now, with these resources, the beauty of floating this many resources is, and he's doing it, you can get a lot of ecotechs. You can get your wood, you can get your farm, you can get your gold. If you want to mine stone, get your stone too. I mean, you can get all those technologies and still add other buildings. And blue has recovered now with these 2 TCs, though every time he looks at his army, seems to forget that the TCs exist. Is running around now. Red, I said it, maybe struggles a bit on the offensive side. Blue shows up with the scouts, and there's got to be a few people out here who are like, no, red, it was looking so good. So much of red's play honestly looked like a 900 or 950 elo player up until the last 2 minutes. Now we're seeing that low elo legend aspect. And blue is feeling very good about that, I'm sure, and is only looking at the scouts, has not done anything at home, cue the meme. But red says, you know what, so it's our turn to add town centers, we'll add a TC here. I don't like it because of the lack of wood, but it's unfortunate there's a pond there. Otherwise, it'd be good because it's on the gold. This TC I do like, though it could be denied. I guess that villager's going to be safe there. And Blue's nice base as he's raiding and harassing red. A very interesting conversation here. It's not really a conversation. It's kind of one-sided, I guess. Now, I should point this out. Eagle Scouts produce twice as fast in Castle Age. I think it's 30 seconds to produce an Eagle Scout, whereas it was 60 seconds in the Feudal Age. And then also their base attack is 7 in Castle Age. So this is a lot better for red than it was earlier. Which is, those two things is kind of why you don't see an Eagle Scout opening in Feudal at a lot of the high level. Okay, red's got a lot of food. Now, what you ideally want to do is spend all that food on more villagers when you have the TCs. Not really seeing that. We do see it on this TC, which is good. What about now, red? Okay, hasn't done that. Blue swoops in with more scouts. Man, this is the beauty of mobility. This is honestly amazing. It looks so bad for blue. Red loses more villagers here. And even sent some weak ones back to work. And you look at that Eco KD now. It is 6 kills versus 1. Red, though, looking to say something about that. And I really wonder. I feel like 6 Eagle Scouts could kill 3 Man-at-Arms. I feel like they should be able to, right? The Man-at-Arms will hold their own. But this is where now you're going to see red in a fine position. It could go right over to that wood line. Is probably still distracted by this right now. Maybe a bit of stress. Blue does garrison. I felt like this was a time for red to hit that wood line, kill 5 to 6 vills, and then there'd be a massive vill lead for him. Hasn't happened, though. Didn't really remember the wood line was there, or in the moment just didn't see it, and we'll probably lose these units. But still, I like red's position. We'll see what blue does to respond. Blue, first thing in the next stage, clicks light cav. He really likes scouts. That will upgrade scouts. Not sure why you would do that when there isn't any. Maybe he's like, I don't have gold right now because this TC has villagers idle. And we go back to red's point of view. This TC producing villagers, very good. This TC getting wheeled barrel, queuing up villagers, very good. This TC producing villagers. Yeah, red's pulled way ahead. Red is pulled way ahead. And red has no interest in the conversation, by the way. He's like, yeah, don't want to talk to this guy. I'm here to get W's and that's it. Not to make friends. Red is just flip-flop back and forth for me. Like, I feel like this is a player who would die so hard to a solidly timed scout rush. Or blue would have never gone back with his man-at-arms or something and gone forward, you know? But when he has time, like, every time red isn't pressured, red just looks like a god at 750 elo. And just transferred a bunch of vills to gold, so we're probably going to see more eagles. I'm really thinking this game is over right now. Light cav is not great against eagle. Longsword is, though. And maybe there's a chance that blue will have the guts to drop a forward castle. Like here, blue, if you feel you're behind, you bring your longswords forward. Maybe drop a castle right in front of those buildings. I think red has definitely benefited from a lot of the early success with the economy. If you look at the total resources brought in this game, red invested more into economy, has had great reward, and I mean, this is just a massive lead. There should be no coming back from this for blue. There should be none. He's going to drop a very defensive castle. This does not surprise me as much as I would have loved the forward castle. Forward castle is not something that players who feel like they're behind will really do. And hey, people, we get to see the slinger. We've got a few slingers. This is something that's unique to the Incas. Let's zoom in on them. You can see their little slings with the little pellet. That's not a pellet, dude. That's like the size of a baseball. That's a big rock. Anyways, they sling those things, and is very good against infantry. These things are not so good against cav, not so good against archers. They're pretty much only good against infantry, and they're very strong against infantry. They've got the ability to benefit from upgrades later on as well. T90, do you also coach single players? Do you mean do I coach single player games or do I coach individuals? I'm not sure what you mean by that. To someone who asked earlier, someone asked if they know the stream is live, but they're wondering if the games are live. I always do live for Low Elo Legends. I never do, I shouldn't say never, but I very rarely do recorded games. To me, it has a better feel if we're going in live and it's happening at that moment. It's always fun to be like, ooh, what can we find? You know, what can we find? Non-married players? Ha ha, funny, funny. I'm sure that's not what they meant. Again, red seems pretty far ahead. Blue really struggling to muster up the courage to move forward. Blue probably thinks, I've had 2 TCs. I have 2 TC eco. This is why if you really want to improve, if you really want to get better at Age of Empires 2, get Capture Age, dude. Get Capture Age. Like, it's not going to look quite like this because I have my own little special version. I toggle through a lot of the data you'd find in the normal one here. But Capture Age shows this. It shows a lot of the data. It shows the worker efficiency. Like, it's not always fun to watch back some of the games you've lost, but if you're really curious and like, why have I not won that game? Just look back and trust me, it's going to be pretty clear to you, you'd think. Whether it's an opportunity where, like right now, for example, like red's got an army here and blue just doesn't know, hey, I've got an opportunity to use my mobility. Red's really exposed. Red has no defensive castles. Or whether it's some execution, you know? Now, my worry about red is that red has all this economy, is only producing slingers. Like, if blue were to go knights or siege, this could be a problem. But it doesn't feel like... I mean, blue is going to come forward with light cap. It seems like he's worried about eagle raids. And yeah, he's seen eagles, so what's he going to do? He's going to make more barracks. He feels like he's making the proper move right now. I do like this, though. I do like this. What's interesting is that Inca villagers are affected by blacksmith upgrades in Castle Age onwards. Used to be Feudal Age. Devs removed that and didn't replace it with anything, and I'm not at all upset about that. But anyways, you can see the villagers will survive a few more hits, but still obviously go down. Seems like blue is at least grabbing relics. I mean, if blue could play into more defensive castles, red is really struggling to finish off the game. So much focus at home, no walls, no defensive castles. I mean, red might not have even noticed this yet. Yeah, I don't really have time to coach. And to be honest, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like I bring similar value in casting games that are not maybe your individual games. Like, Loey the Legends is a series that's meant to be fun, but it's also meant to help players improve, right? And I think it goes a lot further to do something like this, or to mix in some mid-elo casting, which I want to do more of, than it is for me to have a sign-up sheet, schedule a time to have one person for an hour, and then do all this other stuff. I think it's a lot better for my content as well, because there can be more variety and more entertainment. And to be completely honest, like, I organize tournaments, I sponsor tournaments. I have to organize the invoices. I have to send out all the money for that. It's just the tournaments. Then we have Loey the Legends. Then we have community games. Then I'm playing in events. Then I have to train for events. And, like, I could continue to go on the list, and there's just so much I already do. As blue's light cap are wrecking red. What's happening? There's so much I already do that I think adding one more thing, especially like 1v1 get be on Discord type of coaching, that it just would be too much for me. So oh my goodness, these light cav have beasted. These light cav just killed 26 units over the last couple minutes. Ah man, you could see just how weak slingers are. They will eventually kill this, but I mean, this is the weakness for red. This is the weakness. Still does a great job. Like, this is not a bad castle. I personally would have preferred it be here. But anyways, it's not a bad castle to place. This is a little passive. Again, I would prefer it be on this side of the base, because look where blue's coming. But blue can do it, and at least red now realizes the light cav are coming over and is going to run to finish this castle. Now, what could be really cool is you could see some Kameyuks now. So red obviously loves the slingers. This is unique to the Incas. I'm liking the fact we're seeing the uniqueness of these civs. I talked about that at the start. The TCs with Cumans, as we have. I think that's still auto scout. The TCs with Cumans, and then now the slingers from the Incas. As we have, I think, Andy and Sling. Yeah, Andy and Sling means the slingers have no minimum range, as they currently do have a minimum range. I actually forget what the minimum range is. Might be like 2 or 3 tiles. Anyways, But then we can see the Kameyooks, and Kameyooks kind of counter any counters. Like, you can't make infantry against this, right? So, I guess if you make archers, Kameyooks don't have the highest pierce armor compared to something like an Eagle Warrior. But if you were to make knights, which is what you would want to make normally with Cumans against this many slingers, Kameyooks can take care of that. Red still has hugely benefited from eco, but I'm just a little worried for Red. Like, Red, immediately back to creating villagers. Here, I wanted to set up a hotkey so there's not a little blink on your screen, but I have to show this. Like, Blue. Blue, this is you to a T, buddy. We'll make it easier to show this in the future. Sorry, but like, this is, if we look back at the idle time, and we will when I close this meme, this is so Blue. I'm sure many people out there can relate. This is why I show this all the time. But anyways, what's his idle time at right now? 42 minutes from 2 TCs. I am still a little concerned that Red might not have what it takes to finish off a player. You know? Like, great at defense, but I've yet to see some convincing offense. You enjoy the Facebook Watch app? Yeah, dude, I'm telling you guys, that was a game changer for me. As we have Red, why is Red over here? Yeah, it's really good to use that app. Obviously, not all, like, I think Fire Stick has it. I'm not sure what all applications have it. I use an Apple TV, for example, but that app makes it so much better to watch on TV if you want to hang out and watch the stream there. Anyways, yeah, we'll see what happens with Red, but the reason I bring that up is because there's 4 relics for Blue. And while having 30 more villagers is going to be much stronger for a very long time here for Red, those 4 relics will pay off and give gold. But look at this, though. Like, you've got these villagers going to this gold. Red's Auto Scout, we kind of talked about it earlier, but Red's Auto Scout has told him where all those resources are and is just soaking up all the extra resources. Casually building a castle, casually building up army. I don't think Blue can stop this. Like, this is genuinely really tough to stop unless you have siege. If you had, well, I guess heavy scorpions could kind of work, though I would never suggest that because they're a little clunky and awkward to use. I would say onager would make a lot of sense. Get 4 or 5 of those bad boys out there, and at this elo, players might not be able to micro. It could work really good. Yo, Grayson, what's up, man? Thanks for the 500 stars. Says I'm a YouTube rat, but so happy to catch my first stream. Why'd you call yourself a rat? People have called all stream viewers, or sorry, all YouTube viewers smelly before. I've heard that here, and I've heard that in my Twitch days, but I never heard rat, my friend. Well, welcome. Blue is like, get off my lawn, you rat. Get off my lawn. He found that. That's good. But I mean, in Red's point of view, you just took some of that stone anyways, so it's whatever. If there's anything you can learn from Red, it would be that defensive castles are an important thing. Maybe it's a little too defensive. Like, I'm not sure about having double castles here. I would prefer to maybe have a castle here. But building castles on hills, extending towards the corners of your base is always a good late game thing. Forward castles are a little more situational, and he doesn't seem like a forward castle player. A forward castle would be like, forward castle, bring trebs, push right away. He's like, nope, we're going to wait. We're going to chill. And it just makes it more difficult for Blue to have success with raids. Another thing that goes against Cumans at this stage is that Cumans have really poor ranged options. I wouldn't say the Kipchak, which is their unique unit, is really the strongest ranged unit ever. And they don't get Bracer, which means their skirmishers are quite weak. This is still the Auto Scout, by the way. The Auto Scout has come a long way from the Dark Age. Looking buff, looking speedy. Yeah, what does Blue see? Hey, I like the fact that Blue's producing a mix of units. That's always good. I'd like to see more blacksmith upgrades come in. They are coming in, though. And Red just seems to be waiting it out right now. I think there's players who might be watching who are like, I'm like Blue. I like to attack all the time. And then other people are like, nope, I'm like Red. Attacking is scary. It just consistently has been creating villagers. Blue just stopped at 57. And if you're wondering what you should stop at, aim to get to at least 100 villagers before you stop. That's a general number. Realistically, I'd say like maybe 120, 130. This is regardless of your civ. If you have 100 villagers, you can have the strongest 100 military out there. Whereas in theory, blue could have 150 military, but it's going to take so much time. We have fabric shields, which gives additional armor to the eagles, but also to the Kameyooks. We have elite Kameyok. Let's look at the stat jump. We've got 70 HP, 7 base attack right now. Keep an eye on it. Elite Kameyok will be in, and boom. 8 base attack, and you've got 80 HP. Even getting hoardings and also getting siege engineer. So at this point, I don't know if he knows what works for what, but murder holes and hoardings will mean that these castles are going to be very tanky. And here comes blue. Now, we've seen this before, right? We kind of know that red tends to react a little slow. To red's credit, this is actually the fastest reaction we've seen this game. And now look at red. Red is going to send all this military over here. Just stubbornly heading back over to the stone, by the way. Like, that's so cheeky from him. And so ideally what you do if you're blue, and this is tough, but you'd have another army that would hit the other side. But there's just castles everywhere, right? Red is just making it so difficult for the opponent to kill him. That blue certainly has a lot of resources. See blue looking at the Cavalier, trying to find a way. Sees castles everywhere. Blue might comment on this. Because remember, blue was talking earlier. I feel like blue might say something about this. Rip to the Cav. Did notice this, getting Siege Ram now. Siege Ram is actually a great addition. You can have like 10 Siege Rams with an army. A lot of the military for the opponent's is going to spend time attacking those Rams. And wow, okay, 4 siege workshops right on the front. We're not going to try and hide what we're doing because the opponent's not going to come to our base anyways, is his outlook, I guess. 91 army for red, and I think it's better army. Like, this is really bad. And blue's like, I'm sick of this. I'm just going to drop a tower. Dude, why not a castle? Maybe he doesn't know how much castles cost. Maybe that slipped his mind. Maybe he didn't notice. It's hard to look at that. Red has been on this gold the whole time, by the way. So he has really brought in a lot of resources. And is red going back? Red, stop going back to the stone! I mean, it did work, I guess. It's just so, it's so cheeky, you know, to think you can keep getting away with this. This is the 3rd batch of, oh, he's going to the gold. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you an AI, says blue. Oh my god, what a comment. And passive atheist says no. Oh, I forgot actually that red's name was passive atheist. It slipped my mind. That explains red's style. Just wants to sit back. Yeah, of course. Just a bad player 11. Well, I would disagree with that, Red. I think you've shown your experience here. You are passive, so that's accurate. But I would say you are far from a bad player. Kameyooks themselves are actually pretty good against champs, by the way. They're not bad. And then you mix in this many slingers, and blue doesn't have a freaking chance. Blue, we talked about the weaknesses earlier. You didn't have a great eco. You didn't focus on the right things. And you had that opportunity, right, with the TCs. You have to be really effective with a scout rush and really quick, I think, with the scout rush to make it worth not creating villagers for as long as you did. Look at this. Ting, 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 ting. And blue says, not that bad. I like this. Blue realizes, yeah, I think this guy might be trolling me. Or maybe his definition of bad is very different than mine. Here come the Rams. Choo, choo, choo. These could actually take the castle out, but because of hoardings and because of the upgrades earlier for HP, you got 6,000 HP here. You do have skirmishers on the slingers, but there's very few of them. And the Kameyooks just can't be stopped. You're seeing skirmishers now, and Red says thank you. I love this, though, because it seems like these guys are really having a fun time right now. This is pretty true to Red's gameplay this game. Castle will just get taken out. But I guess in his eyes, he says, who needs Rams? I'll take out this castle. This is so satisfying. Kameyooks have 1 range, so they can all stack up against the castle. Look at this. You even got some stones from the slingers there. And again, this is just not an army comp that can be stopped. Red's eco is kicked in. And blue doesn't really know what to do. I think blue's going to try and raid a little bit. Can you imagine if this was a regicide game or something? Because red has not... It's his turn to not look at his base, I guess. Can you imagine if red loses all of his castles? He's building another one back here. Okay, here comes blue with hussars to, I guess, support the castles. This is very funny, man. And red just clicked everything with his slingers. Well, you got sucky skirms. Skirms is a good unit, I guess, against the slinger, but still not great. And okay, now another castle goes down. I mean, blue's got resources. It feels like there's a slight chance here that if red never notices this, that red could lose everything to a hussar raid. These villagers went down. I guess there were more red villagers taking forward resources. Ultimately, blue can't deal with this, but red is kind of allowing blue skirmishers to find some success. There you go. Finally, he attacks some of them. And will clear them. God, like, would you feel good or bad about yourself as a player if you're blue right now? He's probably looking at this like, how am I getting away with this? And if that's what blue comes to, blue's going to then say, as these villagers are auto-farming, so when a farm gets destroyed, they immediately go back to farming. Blue's going to be like, how can I be losing to a guy that doesn't deal with this? Meanwhile, we're going to have a castle from red on the other side of blue's base, which is solid. And the rams are going in after the castles. Now, there's double castle here, plus there's murder holes, so I don't think red loses this one. Red will lose this one, though. And he just is not producing anything. As we have... Oh, my God! Red clicked the building with the slingers? Oh, my... Guys. I wasn't even going to have the conversation on why you shouldn't click buildings, by the way. Because I felt like it wasn't going to matter and we didn't need to discuss it. But this castle could get denied. Don't tell me passive atheist is going to throw this. Hasn't looked at his eco in God knows how long. Or I guess there's no God because he's an atheist. So, in who knows how long. And the castles have gone down. Still could make cameos. What is happening? Oh, yeah, you attack that mill. Yeah, you don't want him to farm there. Yeah, that's precious farmland. Okay, so let's talk about the building click thing, okay? There's nothing more satisfying than getting a bunch of cameos or a bunch of paladins and destroying buildings. Patrol or attack move on attack stance, or just click your units next to the building on attack stance. Because what happens is the following. If there's no unit there, they will attack the building, which is what you want, right? However, if there is a unit there, they won't spend their time attacking the building, and instead... God, I swear, is red AFK right now? Like, I'm so confused. Can I look? 8 p.m.? He's here! They're both here! He's ramping it up a bit. He's probably doing some stuff. Anyways, the idea is you don't throw army. So you could still destroy buildings, but then you don't throw army. What is this, man? And these two rams could maybe take out the final castle. I'm so confused. Like, okay, this is not very realistic from 750 elo players, right? Like, you would think he'd look back at one point. Don't tell me this ram will take out the castle. I don't think it can. If there was one more ram, though, red would be with only one castle. Holy cow, what are we witnessing here? He's clearly looking at the cameos, right? Clearly looking at the cameos. Is now going in after the TC. But, I mean, blue is in... I think blue's in the better position right now. I mean, they both have resources to do something. The beauty of low elo is that players can get ahead. And they can easily lose the game. And it can also be the frustrating thing of low elo. I'm looking at red here like, how did this happen? I'm sure everyone's had a massive throw at one point in their career. But, I mean... Okay, here, let's talk positives for red, okay? Positive for red is that blue only has one castle. And blue is at 48 villagers. Red says, oh, 11, GG. No! Don't you call it! You can do this. Look at your resources. Don't you call it. Put up more of a fight, Mr. Atheist. No! No! Ah! No! He just now realized. He was probably, guys, like, it's easy for us to look at the situation and say, Red, you could still do this. But if Red genuinely didn't know that his whole eco and castles got rammed down, can you imagine the shock? Like, I think it's really easy for us to instinctively say, oh my God, you still could have fought back because Blue's in a bad spot too. But just imagine the shock if Red genuinely didn't know that whole time and looked back over here and had, like, nothing. I could see a 750 elo player getting extremely overwhelmed. And I like how Red just laughed it off. Like, that's another beautiful thing about low elo is they're like, oh, whatever, I lost. They might not even, they might not even care. Like, okay, let's play another game. That's fun. How did Blue win that? That was like... It's almost really bad for Blue that he won that. Yes, he's going to get the elo, but then there's no lessons learned there. Blue's like, well, my strategy worked. Idling my TC for 6 hours worked. It definitely did seem like the longer that game went on, though, it definitely felt like the game became more of a daunting task. Would you guys agree? Like, it became more and more clear. And it makes sense because there's more things that can happen as the game progresses and as there's more population, that it just became more and more overwhelming for both of them. I would say the first, 10 minutes of the game was fairly solid, right? From their ecos to their build orders. It wasn't perfect, high-level execution, but it was really solid. And then you had these moments where they'd forget obvious things or didn't know about obvious things or, I don't know, didn't see rams. Of all things, just 6 rams take out an entire economy. I'm a little disappointed. I wish that game would have gone on further because I think Red could have made a bunch of cameos and continued to put up a fight. Maybe rebuilt some things. And it would have been interesting because Blue has relics, right? So Blue has 3,500 gold in the bank, but also has 4 relics to bring in the gold. I think it would have been an interesting finish, but Red had put in so much effort to build up that base and then lost all of it and just decided, well, I'm out of here, and tapped out. And there's the economy. Red will not be happy to see that. Had more wood, had more food, had more gold, had more stone. So what did we learn? Well, we learned maybe look back at your base every once in a while. We also learned that it's also important to not attack buildings. He could have killed a lot of Blue's army and then taken out the buildings. There was a lot of right-clicking of buildings instead of patrolling in or leaving them on attack stance. So I hope my tip helps there. And what else did we learn? Well, sometimes things are just, when things go bad, it's better off to quit, apparently. Instead of putting the effort in to try and fix everything that went wrong, it's just better to start fresh. Start a new game. The legend of passive atheist. Oh my goodness.